Come now, Udgy. This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen. You can't. What, now you want to make me out as the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense. I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined to testify. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. This must be that risk we were talking about earlier. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your own neck. Oh, so what? You think I'm worried? Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? No, I don't. But someone does. Someone? So, what's your excuse, Righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it?
Actually, I tried to present it earlier, but you're like, no, we haven't presented that into the case yet.
You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death? Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt? Is this true, Mr. Wright? If I show that piece of evidence now, Emma's sure to be made out as the murderer. Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now. And if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries. What do I do now? I'd better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Should I present that piece of evidence? The one that shows who really killed Prosecutor Marshall? Hold on. Just like he said, I can't show it yet. No evidence we see here. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial. And it's not, this isn't... Neil Marshall's death is not the case on trial. It isn't. Sorry, I can't show the evidence. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? You lie. Chief Gant? You opened my safe. I know you took what was inside. Conclusive evidence. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gant? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like part of it's been cut out for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? That means you, the chief of police, have been concealing evidence? This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gall, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. What? You mean you admit to it? I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use the situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her? I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, then when she saw the scene, she would ask me for my aid. So you assisted Ms. Sky. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. When I tampered with the crime scene, I had 2 pieces of evidence. This was before Lana arrived at the scene, mind you.
2 pieces of evidence? You mean those items in your safe?
But why? For insurance, of course.
Insurance? You mean blackmail?
I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? What do you take me for? A fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? I had the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces. But if you fabricated all the evidence, let's just say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar, too. Ho, 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 ho. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Righto, cough it up already. I know you have it.
What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you admit to it then, Chief Gant? That you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe?
Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that being Chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago, you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Foolish move, Righto. You should have shown it then before it was too late.
It's been a long battle. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine. Cannot show evidence. No, it's too late to show the evidence now. What? Besides, even if I did, it'd just expose that poor girl's fingerprints.
Right, think hard over the circumstances.
The circumstances?
I'm talking about then and now. There's one major difference between the two. Weren't you waiting for that difference?
So, Edgeworth figured out my plan.
Mr. Wright, this is your only chance.
Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now.
Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall.
Oh great, now I'm nearly dead!
No, wait.
Wait, no, I didn't mean to show that!
Mr. Edgeworth, your opinion, please? I think Mr. Wright's humor is improved at the expense of his defense. Better polish up your defense, Mr. Wright. No, that's enough. This court sees no reason to further prolong this trial. The defense has failed to give the court sufficient reason to doubt the prosecution's claim. The court finds the defendant, Ms. Lana Sky. No! No!
When was the last time we saved?
At the beginning of the thing, because it doesn't...
Oh!
Bark! It's not fair! I didn't mean to hit the button! I'm thrown out of court. Okay. Alright, so we try this again.
As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine.
Alright, so we show here...
Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now.
Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The The evidence shows you actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall. Okay, so it was actually going to be this picture because we determined that this vest should have blood all over it, or does have blood all over it, but the piece that was cut out does not. Is that going to work? Mr. Redworth, your opinion? No, that's not how it worked. Okay, so he still didn't like it. Am I actually going to show it? Alright. We'll actually give it even though we're not supposed to. Alright. You don't like it? Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest? Oh yes, at last you finally brought it out into the open. There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution requests that it be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather. There must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean... it could not have been forged? It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. Ho ho ho! You're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it. Raito had all this time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that? Mr. Wright, do you really know? Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? Very well, I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person to whom these fingerprints belong to is... Musky. Who's that? Emma? Emma Skye? What? They're mine? I'm sorry, Emma. But why... why didn't you tell me? Oh, you're really something, Raito. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me. So true. Tragic, but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. Could you? You monster! Miss Skye? You knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't. Miss Skye, it's not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet. She's not even the one on trial, and this isn't even the murder the trial is for. Ha! But I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career, too. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. Just as serious as when you did it. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter, cat? Got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh, and what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Gant, you were absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? It was Emma Skye, wasn't it? I'm afraid that's not possible.
You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction.
What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about?
I'm talking about a contradiction. One that proves who the real killer is.
Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth? What could it possibly contradict?
Chief Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Behold, a piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. Okay, now.
Take that!
And what exactly is this supposed to be?
This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at it. See where the piece of his vest was cut out?
Yes, his shirt is showing underneath. It's hard to make out with all the blood on his vest, though.
Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood, and that's only natural. His lungs no doubt were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth.
Oh, but that piece of cloth. Wait, there's no blood on it. Ah.
Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword at that time. No, this is nonsense. Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside.
Most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out.
If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Ms. Lana Sky, picked up the unconscious prosecutor, and impaled him on the armor's sword?
Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. The jar that they then broke on purpose to leave behind a clue and make Lana believe her sister did it.
Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut out this bloodless piece of the victim's vest. Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you prove that you were the actual murderer.
Oh, no!
It's finally all over.
Fiction. Oh, that was close, Righto. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations. What do you mean, you refute his allegations? You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence.
Right.
Order, order. What nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Reggie? Earlier, old Righto here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse, Righto? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you?
Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time.
Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. But that's not fair. Did you actually think you could best me in court? Looks like the last laugh's on you, son. I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? True, legal evidence cannot be used to convict a person, assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Well, Mr. Wright?
It seems, at last, the time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived.
Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposely and illegally concealed this piece of cloth? I did not.
I admit I refused to present it at one point.
Aha! So the evidence is illegal.
Objection!
No, it isn't, Mr. Gant.
Huh?
It's not that I didn't present evidence then, it's that I couldn't.
What do you mean you couldn't?
There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence.
No, Archie, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward you can't really believe. There's only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well, let us settle this once and for all. Earlier you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now. Okay. Evidence law. Alright. And it's rule number 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial? Probably.
Take that!
This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law.
What's this?
I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Musky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth and nothing more.
What?
You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law.
Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department.
I found this piece of evidence myself inside your safe. It goes without saying I did not have approval from the police department.
Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case on trial.
And here is the crux of the matter. You see, at the time it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident, which is not even the case at trial.
What kind of nonsense is this? You want a relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and...
Objection!
Sorry, but can you recall, when was that picture presented?
That was shown only a few moments ago. No. No. He's right. Beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless.
The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant.
You yourself confessed to a certain truth.
Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest.
Oh, yes. No. It was then that you approved this cloth. As conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth.
The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer. And there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant, the killer was you.
I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years he's been snooping around the department trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me. Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convinced Bruce Goodman.
Detective Goodman?
Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you've got to help me. Goodman turned him down as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room, and then all of a sudden he decided to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered. He opened his evidence locker, and as he was taking the evidence out, he said, "It's not too late. I'm going to hand all this over to Marshall." Oh, well, to be honest, I was a bit taken aback by his words. I had a bad feeling when he came to see me, but I never thought he'd bring up SL9. That's when I saw it, that accursed knife. I couldn't just pull it out. Doing so would have only led to more blood, making it near impossible to hide your crime. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I hurried to wipe it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realize my fatal mistake. The bloody handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker. I used to be known as the crime computer. But everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. You put the body in my car. I'm sorry, I couldn't think of any other way to move the body. I broke your trunk, but what's the big deal? You make a lot more than us detectives ever will. Leaving the prosecution's car aside, how could you get Miss Skye involved in all of this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out. So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker. I felt bad for having to do it. I also didn't have the time to pick and choose what to take. So, you left the jar fragments and the glove. Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, why do you stand in court? Me? You despise criminals. I can feel it, you and me. We're the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye. Oh, Udgy. What? Looks like we'll have to cancel that lunch date. Sorry, old friend. Sorry too, Damon Gant. I knew you as you used to be, long ago. You were once a fine investigator and an example to others on the force. I'm sorry to learn that you are no longer that person. Those days are gone now, Udgy. Thanks for all the memories, though. Don't worry, you'll be fine. Now you have a Righto here. And a Worthy. With these two around, you can't go wrong. In fact, I can hear them already. The melodious sounds of a new beginning.
There are two things I want you to understand.
Yes?
First, your sisters never hurt anyone. Second, Damon Gant betrayed you from the beginning. You see, Ms. Sky, you no longer have any reason to keep silent.
You're right. When this trial is over, I'll tell everything. All that I've done these past 2 years. From the time I had Gant help me forge evidence, up until today. So, it seems all the questions raised in this trial have been answered.
I'm sorry, Ms. Sky, I couldn't get you out of all your trouble.
My, what high standards you have for a rookie. I can see why Mia thought so highly of you. Who knows, a few years from now, you just might make it to the top. Hey, my thanks, Mr. Wright.
Ms. Sky.
To you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. Believe me, I know how much of an ordeal it's been for you. It was nothing.
A liar.
I was worried the pressure might break you. And yet, you rose above it all and guided Mr. Wright to victory. You've done well, Mr. Edgeworth. Stop it. I only did my job.
In light of...
In light of this case, it seems a good self-examining is in order for all of us. Miss Sky?
Yes, Your Honor?
You are innocent of murder. However, although the chief blackmailed you, the fact is you still acted as his accomplice. A trial will be scheduled for these crimes at a later date.
Yes, I understand, Your Honor.
Is there something amusing about all of this? Why are you smiling?
It's been a long time, Your Honor. A long time since I felt free of these heavy chains.
Well, this trial has gone on far too long already. Regarding the charge of murder, this court finds the defendant, Ms. Lana Sky, not guilty. That is all. This court is adjourned. February 25, 5:03 p.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby Number 2.
At long last, it's finally over. Emma? Why the long face? I'm sorry your sister didn't get completely off the hook. But at least she wasn't convicted for a murder she didn't commit. No, that's not it. Just now, after the trial ended?
I can see why Mia Fey thought so highly of you.
I owe my thanks, Mr. Wright.
And to you too, Mr. Edgeworth. You've suffered every bit as much as I have over these past few days. You've done well.
You know, I did my best too, but I didn't say a single word to me.
Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, yes I am. I'll come back later.
Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it?
You're doing this on purpose, aren't you? Making a detective run around while on duty. Top it off, y'all. Come out here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Hey, lighten up, pals. I'm only kidding.
Oh, are you here because of my sister again?
Nope, not this time. I came today because of you, pal.
Me?
That's right. I thought you'd like to see something.
Lana! Should you be doing this? She's still under arrest, you know.
Oh, I won't tell if you won't. Emma, I owe you an apology.
It's okay, sis. Don't worry about it.
That day, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
It was the first time in my life I ever panicked. It was all I could do to keep myself from screaming. All I could think about was keeping you from getting wrapped up in that mess.
Sis.
I asked Gant to help me cover up the truth. I thought I was doing it for your sake. But now I realize I was wrong. I changed after that day. I had to. It was the only way I could make it through the past 2 years. I knew how much I was hurting you by distancing myself. I couldn't bring myself to tell you what I did. I was scared. Scared that you'd look at me with those eyes of yours. I was scared of how you'd react if you knew.
Sis, you were only doing it for me.
No.
Huh?
I turned my back on you that day. In hiding what I believed to be the truth, I was deceiving you.
Sis.
I'm such a fool. It took me all this time to realize it. Emma, I'm so sorry.
Sis, you don't have to apologize. I'm happy now.
You're happy?
Of course. You know, sis,
I always knew that one day you'd come back.
and now you have.
Oh, Emma.
Emma.
Oh.
No one can change the past. The only thing we can do is strive to make up for our mistakes. Why must we make up for our mistakes, you ask? Because in so doing, we can find the way back to our rightful path. And it is from there that we can move on toward a brighter future. At least that's what I felt watching the two sisters make up.
Mr. Wright, Mr. Gumshoe,
Me?
thank you both for all that you've done. I'm sure we'll meet again someday. Isn't that right, Edgeworth?
Edgeworth?
Stop hiding and come over here.
Where was he hiding?
Just came to say congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Edgeworth.
Right. Well, I'll be going now. Mr. Edgeworth, I hope you don't blame yourself for what happened. We were the ones who acted corruptly, not you. It's too late for me.
Hmm?
I don't want anyone to say, I realize today that I can't correct my mistakes.
Mr. Edgeworth.
Not only that, but I don't even trust myself anymore. Chief Gant was right. You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me were the same. One day you'll understand. Oh, believe me, you will. You're just one man. You'll see what it really takes to bring them down once you try to go it alone. I do despise criminals. I plan to dedicate my entire life to fighting them. In order to fight crime my own, I need a weapon. Scary, but I've known that to be true for quite some time now.
But Edgeworth.
Who knows? Give it enough time, I might have tried to pull something like Chief Gant did. That thought terrifies me. That's why I can't continue on as a prosecutor. Edgeworth, don't you understand? Damon Gant and your mentor, Manfred von Karma? We're both the best of the best when it came to fighting crime. But they both made the same mistake. You said, in order to fight crime on my own, I'd need a weapon. That may be true, but think back to today's trial. You weren't alone. You were working together with Mr. Wright. And because of that partnership, you were able to present evidence that otherwise would have gone undiscovered. Isn't that right, Mr. Wright?
Huh? What? Oh, yeah. What is this, a pop quiz?
Come on, Mr. Wright. Show him what Lana's talking about.
Evidence, huh? Something that neither Edgeworth nor I would have been able to find on our own. Bark? Something that we helped each other find? That? I don't think that's it.
Take that!
That's the picture I drew.
Our counterattack began with this. You had one half of the evidence list and I had the other. Apart, we wouldn't have been able to completely restore him as picture.
That didn't just happen by chance, Mr. Edgeworth. It's time for me to go. Mr. Edgeworth, if you'll excuse me, there's still some loose ends need wrapping up. Take care, Chief Prosecutor.
Edgeworth, what will you do now? Well, whatever you do, just remember, you can let what happened kill the prosecutor in you, or you can let it help you grow. In the end, it's up to you.
I know. Seems I owe you my thanks too, right? What I face now is my problem.
Edgeworth, I'll be waiting for you in court.
Farewell. I better be going too. Okay, but I'll be by to visit soon. It seems we both have a lot to learn and catching up to do. Here, this is a little something for you. Scientific investigation. It's the first book I ever bought. Study it well. Thanks, sis. I will.
And so, another case came to a close. As for the sisters, I have faith. Faith that their lives have only just begun. And as for me, I think it's time I started a new journey of my own. A journey to rediscover myself. Well, don't go trekking off just yet, pal. What is it, Detective? There's just a little matter to be resolved about the Chief Prosecutor. You see, she isn't supposed to be out of jail like this. But I thought you said it was okay. Yeah, well, it may be okay with me, but the folks at the prison are a different story. Huh? Basically, I had to bribe a guard in order to sneak her out for 30 minutes. Believe me, it wasn't cheap either. Huh?
Way to go, Detective. I didn't know you had a wild side.
Yeah, well, you see, Mr. Wright here is the one who'll be footing the bill. Huh? What, you think I can afford it with my salary? You gotta be kidding me, pal.
Thank you, Mr. Wright. You're the best.
Why is it I suddenly feel like I want to scream? Hey, I got an idea. Why don't we all go pay it off together?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Come on, guys. Let's go. Collectively bribe a guard.
Alright. I arranged for a friend of mine in Europe to take care of Emma. I hope she'll be pleased to study under a top corner. As for me, this affair has pretty much ended my days at the prosecutor's office. Still, I'll manage to find my way back to the field somehow. Then, I'll be able to investigate crimes together with Emma. Planning, Takeshi Yamazaki. Design, Kazuya Nuri. Yikes. I thought it was a goner for a moment there. In the end, though, they overlooked my unauthorized investigation at the chief's office. Or if we penalized you anymore, it'd be worse than firing you. Yep, that's what they said. Just goes to show. Can't shake me off that easily. Earth Yasuaki Kishimoto, Tatsuya Enomoto. Ojiro Ogiwara, Hirochika Nagaki. Animation Kota Fukamachi, Takanori Ishikawa. My new mission is to guard the main entrance and take care of Billy. Oh, can you believe it? I've been demoted to a security guard. My partner's keeping an eye on the entrance for today. I'll show them, though. Someday I'm going to make a detective. Yes, sir. Then I can be just like that Dick Gumshoe. Shuichi Muramoto, Kyoko Takeda, Yasuhiro Morita, Uji Aoki, Chie Nakajima, Toshiko Yamamoto. Badger. Yeah. What is it? Can't you see I'm having me a showdown with a lunch partner? Mrs. Starr managed to sneak this into me. She's seen one of the guards, it seems. Well, cowboy, looks like you did it. You even gave Bambina back her smile. You make sure Billy and the gang get their water. Looks like we won't be seeing each other for a while. As a farewell gift, I put a new meal on the menu. The right way lunch. The top layer tastes as bitter as defeat, but the bottom layer is as sweet as victory. Kids seem to dig the turnabout thing. It's a hot seller around exam time. Just make sure not to eat it backwards. Okay. Ben Judd. Brandon Gay. Kaori Funakoshi. I'll never forget what that young defense lawyer said after the trial. Let's see, what was his name again? Mr. Left? Anyway, he said he'd been doing something or other for, how many years? Well, anyway, I've got another trial to get to, so I better be, Oh no, I forgot my gavel. Sorry, gotta go. Poor fella. Bone Global Solutions. Sure. Hey, Patrick Riley, Yuli Kim, Steve Anderson. Yoko Muto, Alexander O. Smith, Philip Soldini. Nothing soothes the soul like fresh country air. Still, sometimes I do miss hearing you and your objection. Still, we can't go back until I'm a full-fledged spirit medium. Mystic Maya, afternoon training's about to begin. Coming. Well, see you around, Nick. Special thanks to Camille Yamazoe, Ayatomo Mikaneko,
Tatsuya Keiji Kuori, Tomohiro Masuda, Setsuo Yamamoto, Hideaki Kataniri, Miho Kobayashi, Taro Ohira, Yohei Koyama. Mr. Edgeworth? Oh, Mr. Edgeworth, how about your tea? What's going on? Minae Matsukawa. Satsuya Minami. Thanks for coming to see me off. I can't believe I'm going to Europe. Thank you, Mr. Wright. Thank you so much for everything. I'm a little sad, but I'll be alright. Whenever I want to see Lana, all I have to do is open this book. Is it full of pictures of her? Sure it is. Hio. Oop.